Hi guys, my name is Laura B. Welcome to my channel. And today I created this kind of vampy fall look, and it's kind of like a burnt orange type of red tone look. If you guys want to see how to create this look, go ahead and keep watching. And if you guys do like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell so you guys can be notified every time I do post a video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. So I already have my brows and my eyelids set. I'm going to be going into the Huda Beauty Desert Dust Palette with the M441 brush by Morphe, and I'm going into that shade Eden. And I'm going to go ahead and tap my brush off a little bit because it is powdery and set that in my inner crease area. Windshield wiper motions, and I'm going to be doing that back and forth just until I complete the eye the way I would like it to look. I am going to be going back and forth into the shade because it is a little light, so I really want to get that shade as vibrant as I can and to get it to show through when I do layer the other colors on top. So I'm just going back and forth with this shade and making sure I buff that out. And I'm going to go back into that Eden shade and do the same thing on the other eye as I did on that eye. And I'm just going to fast pace it a little bit because I know you guys don't want to sit through a whole tutorial of me blending out my eyeshadow. So I did go ahead and fast pace that for you, but basically you are going to be doing the same thing on the other eye, just making sure you get it to the right consistency that you would like it. So as you can see, I do go back and forth on my eyes, and I just want to make sure I get it to look as vibrant as possible. Now I'm going to be going in with this Morphe M443 brush, and I'm going to take that in the shade Amber, and I'm taking quite a hefty amount, but I am going to go ahead and dust that off. And then this shade, I'm going to be placing it a little bit lower than we placed the transition color in the beginning, just to make sure that that color still shows through. I'm going to go ahead and go in circular motions, and I'm just going to be buffing this color out until I feel comfortable enough to drag that color in to my crease area, just so we're not dragging a whole lot of pigment into the crease. So as you see now, I'm dragging the color into the crease area as soon as we blended out as much of the shadow as we could on the outer crease, and just going in back and forth motions and blending that out. And I'm going to go ahead and fast paste this for you guys as well. If you guys can see, I'm just going back and forth. It's nothing hard. You guys are just going to be blending this color out until you guys see that it's distributed as best as possible throughout your eyelid. And I'm going to be going into that amber shade and just doing the same thing on the other eye, blending that color on the outer V of the eye until I feel comfortable enough to drag that color into the inner crease of my eye. And we are now dragging it in and making sure that we buff that color out as much as possible so it's not so stark. Now we're going to be taking that first shade that we had Eden on the same brush, on the M441 brush that we had used in the beginning, and I'm going to go ahead and start buffing the colors out so they're blending out nicely and it's not just a harsh line on my eyeshadow. So I'm just going to do the same thing to both eyelids and make sure I'm blending out those colors so they're not leaving a harsh line. Now I'm going to be taking the Morphe M433 brush, and that's the same one that we used in that shade Amber, and I'm going to take it into Saffron and take a pretty decent amount. Same thing, tap my brush off and go ahead and place that a little bit lower than we had placed the second shade. And I'm going to be going ahead and buffing that color out, going in kind of like circular motions and at the same time patting it in and dragging that color into my inner crease area. So I'm distributing that as nice as possible. I am going to be taking it into the inner corner area as well because I am going to be doing kind of a halo eye. So I want to take that color and I want to drag it into the inner corner of the eye as best as I can. And I'm going to be doing the same thing to the other eye. And as you can see, I'm just buffing that color out and dragging it into the inner corner of my eye. And I'm just using patting and buffing motions. So right here, guys, I'm going to be taking another M443 brush, a clean brush this time, and I'm going to be going into the shade Oud. I think that's how you pronounce it. And I'm going to be tapping my brush off as well because I do kind of go into the shades pretty hard. So I'm going to take that a little bit lower than the third shade that we put down, and I'm going to be buffing that out and making sure I'm blending as best as I possibly can. This is a darker shade, so I really want to buff that color out. And now I'm turning my brush so I can get the pointed end and I can bring it inside to my crease area. So I'm dragging that color as best I can to my crease area, and I'm taking that in the inner corner as well. I'm going back into the Morphe M441 brush that we've been using to blend out the shades, and I'm going ahead and blending the shadow out so it's not so harsh and it's not so stark. So I just really want to buff that color out and make sure it's not leaving or creating a harsh line. So I'm just going back and forth, and now I'm going to be going into out one more time and doing the same thing with the other eye. And I'm going to be placing that shadow a little bit lower and buffing it out as much as I can, and doing the same thing and dragging it into my inner corner of my eye. I'm going to be taking this makeup remover wipe and just cleaning off whatever fallout I do have. I don't want to create that wing shape, I just want to clean it up, so that's what I'm doing here. And now I'm going into my eyeshadow with that same M441 brush and cleaning off my shadow, making sure that there's no stark lines and buffing those shades out as much as I possibly can. Now I'm going to be going into this Blood Moon shade from the palette, and I'm going to go with the Bodyography flat shader brush that I received in one of my Ipsy bags. Now I'm taking this Marc Jacobs spray, and I'm going to go ahead and spray my brush a little bit and pick up the color Blood Moon, and this is a very, very beautiful shade. I just wanted to take it with the setting spray just to make sure that it shows up as vibrant as possible on the lids, and it really did. Honestly, I go in with glitter after this, but you could just set this color down and be good to go with liner and lashes if you wanted to. But I'm going to go ahead and pat this color out as much as I possibly can. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other eyelid. And this color is very, very vibrant, very beautiful color. I'm going in with one of those M443 brushes that we used for that shade out. And I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more color to the outer crease area because I did want to deepen this look up a little bit more. I felt like it wasn't deep enough for me, so I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit more of that color and start buffing it out and bringing it into my inner corner on top of that shade that we had put on. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other eye and go ahead and deepen up the eyes a little bit. I didn't want it to be so light. I wanted it to be kind of a smoked out look, and just to use this one palette, I didn't have a black in this palette, so I just went ahead and deepened it up. Now I'm taking the Urban Decay Heavy Metal Glitter Liner in the shade Starfire, and these are amazing. This is kind of like a coppery, this is a coppery glitter liner, and I thought it would be very, very beautiful on top of this shade, so I went ahead and added a little bit to my lids. And as I'm placing that down, I realized that I just wanted to be kind of like a blown out glitter look. So I'm going ahead and patting my eyelids a little bit so it's not so harsh and not so much glitter in one spot. I just wanted it to be distributed as much as I could on my lid area. Now I'm going ahead and doing the same thing to the other eye, just patting that glitter in and making sure it's blown out as much as possible. And I'm going back and forth on both eyes to kind of make sure that they're looking the same. I'm now going with the Water Cream by Tatcha, and this is just a moisturizer, and my skin was feeling a little bit dry that day, so I took a little bit on my fingertips, and I went ahead and patted that into my skin because it's kind of like a drink of water for my face. It is amazing. It is a great, great moisturizer, and I definitely recommend it. And right here, I'm just gonna sip on a little bit of my coffee that I had before I get into priming my face. So I'm going to go ahead and take this Cover FX primer, and it is the Blurring Primer by Cover FX. And I really like this. I actually received this in a BoxyCharm, so I just use it, and I actually really like it. So I just took a little pump of that on my fingertips, and I'm going to go ahead and pat that into my face as well in my T-zone area, especially on my nose and my chin area because that's where my makeup cracks the most. Today I'm going to be going in with the L'Oreal Infallible Foundation, and I am in the shade 205. And this is the Glow Foundation, not the matte one, because I do like my face to be very glowy. I am very dry skin, more. I'm just patting that in with my beauty blender now, and I want to go ahead and blend that out. As you can tell, I am breaking out quite a bit, so I did want to go ahead and go in with the more full coverage foundation, and this one to me is full coverage, and it's only, I believe, $10.99, and I got mine at Walmart, so it depends wherever you get yours at. It varies on the prices because I've seen it a lot more expensive, but this is honestly one of the best drugstore foundations that I've come to find. And I even like to use this on days that I'm going out, and this is one of my top favorites with my high-end foundations. So I'm going to go ahead and just blend my forehead out a little bit and try and skip over my brows as much as possible. Now I'm going to be taking the shade Vanilla with the Born This Way Too Faced Concealer. It's a multi, and I'm going to go ahead and place that on my under eye areas and my T-zone areas. And this is honestly mostly just for brightening up the under eye area and my T-zone area. I like it for coverage as well. It's really, really good coverage, you guys will see. But I do like it for brightening the under eye area, so that's why I get it in the shade Vanilla. And I'm just going to go ahead and blend that out as well with my Morphe sponge. Just buff it into my skin and pat it as much as I can. I like to kind of press on it instead of just drag it. So I'm just going to go ahead and go into all my creases. That's why I really enjoy this sponge. And I'm just speeding through this a little bit because honestly I'm just blending this concealer out as much as I can so that it's not creasing in any area. Today for setting powder I am using the number 5 Fair Clair Fit Me setting powder by Maybelline, and I'm going to go ahead and I made sure I patted my under eye area so it didn't crease within the time that I got my powder. And now I'm just going ahead and setting that powder on my under eye area, making sure that I get the inner creases of my nose as well because I do tend to crease in that area. And I'm going to also go ahead and take whatever's left of that powder and set my nose and just keep patting over that. I like to pat, not really bake. I like to pat the powder in, and whatever's left over on my sponge, I go ahead and set the rest of my face with it. I don't take any extra powder. I just take whatever's left over and kind of just pat it on my forehead area and my mouth area just to make sure I'm not creasing. So we're going to be dipping back into that palette with this flat shader brush, and I'm going to go into that out shade that we had used on the outer corners of our eyes, and I'm just going to be connecting them together and going ahead and creating this liner look at the bottom of our lash line. And this brush is really, really good for getting right up into that lower lash line area of the eye and making sure to get all the little details that you can to create this nice blown out look. So all I'm doing is going into this Luxie brush now, and I'm going to go back in with that out shade, and I'm going to take that and I'm just going to now blow that shade out as much as I possibly can so it's not so stark and it doesn't create such a neat, nice line. The line was for creating that to get as much as possible into your lower lash line, and now we're just buffing it out so it looks nice and blown out. And now I'm going to go back in with that Morphe M441 brush that we were using to buff out all those colors, and I'm going to go ahead and keep buffing out those colors, making sure that everything is as neat as possible and as blown out as possible so we don't have any of those stark lines. And I'm going ahead and blending those colors together as well that we. For eyeliner, I'm going to be using this Fierce Flicks by Ciate eyeliner. And honestly, I didn't love this. It came to a fine point, but it wasn't creating the thin line that I needed. So you'll see in this video that my eyeliner is pretty thick, not as thin as I wanted to. So I didn't go ahead and wink it out. I just did a line so I can hide the lash band and the lashes that I'm going to be using. So I didn't do as perfect as possible, but I do go in and fix it after I apply my lashes. So I'm going to be using the second pair of lashes in this eye collection, and I'm going to be using the Kiss Strip Lash Adhesive, and this is one of my favorite lash glues. Honestly, it's like $2.99, and it is the best one that I've used so far. And as those set, I'm going to go ahead and go into my Superhero It Cosmetics mascara, and I'm going to go ahead and just coat the top of my lashes and the bottom lashes As you can see, my eyeliner did not come out anywhere near where I wanted to come out, so I was very frustrated with that, but I went ahead and fixed it later on. Um, with this mascara also, it was something else that I had received in my BoxyCharm. It wasn't one of my favorites. I guess I just needed to let it dry out a little bit because it was way too wet and it got very, very messy. So I'm just going to go ahead and use it until it runs out, I guess. I don't want it to go to waste. So I am using that on the lower lash line, and I am using it on the upper lashes as well. Now that the eyelash glue has already gotten as tacky as possible, I'm going to go ahead and set my eyelashes right on top. And I'm using this Tarte eyelash applicator that I bought at Ulta. And it's the easiest thing to use. You honestly can set them right on top. It makes eyelash application easy. And I just go ahead and make sure I get those outer corner and inner corners perfect. And as you can see, it was very, very easy to apply. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other eye and make sure I'm setting it right on top. And then I go ahead and fix the outer corner and inner corners of my lashes and mesh the real lashes with the false lashes together so you're not seeing any kind of separation between them. And I do go ahead and go back into that eyeliner and try and fix it as much as I possibly can so it doesn't look off. And I go ahead and hit my inner corners a little bit more because they did get kind of washed out. Now I'm going in with the Luxie brush, and I'm going to go ahead and take that on the shade Angel. And this is more of a bronzier shade. The other two on the corner are more of a cool tone. So I like this shade for bronzing up the skin. And I'm just going ahead and buffing that on the cheekbone areas. And I do get a little bit messy with my bronzer, which I don't really mind so much because I go ahead and clean it up with translucent powder later. And right here I just closed you guys up a little bit more. Not sure if that helped any, but I wanted you guys to see that this is a very, very nice shade. And it is very deep. I'm not sure how it's showing up on camera because of all my light. But other than that, it's a very deep shape and it does show up on my skin. So I do go a little messy with this. I am taking it under my chin area so it's not, you're not seeing a floating head. Now to clean that mess up, I'm going to go ahead and take some of this translucent powder and just go ahead and chisel out my cheek area. I'm going to be doing the same thing to both sides. And I do let this bake for a little bit and I press it in to my chin area. So as you guys can see here, I'm just going ahead and chiseling out the shape that I would like for my cheeks to go. And I'm taking this P12 Aesthetica brush and I'm going ahead and wiping away whatever kind of powder is left underneath my eye area and in between my nose area. And now I'm going to be going in and pressing it in with my Morphe sponge. Today for blush, I'm going to be using this Tarte Cosmetics blush and it's in the shade Feisty. And as you guys can tell, it is a warm neutral color. And I'm going to be going in with this Luxie brush and going ahead and taking as much as possible on my brush because this is kind of like a dispersed brush and it doesn't pick up too much. And I am going to still go ahead and pat that off and place it on the cheek areas of my face. And as you guys can see, I am pinching the brush a little bit to kind of get that shape that I want and where I want to place the blush at. And I'm going back and forth on my cheeks with that. And as you guys can see, it's not very, very crazy. It's a nice neutral color blush. And I'm trying to show you guys that it's not pink or anything like that. And now I'm going to be going ahead and taking that powder brush and going ahead and wiping off all of that powder that we set down. And by this point, our face looks very, very powdery. So I'm going to be taking the Marc Jacobs setting spray and I'm going to be spraying my face. And as you can tell, I kind of forgot to shut my eyes there, so I went ahead and sprayed my eye. But I am going ahead and setting my face, and as you'll see in this clip, my face is drenched with that setting spray, so it does spray out a lot. But honestly, I don't mind because I just go ahead and go in with my Morphe sponge and pat all that into my foundation and powder that I have on my face, and it's going to create this skin-like look and not leave your face so powdery with all those powders that we went in with. Now I'm going to be going in with Ofra Rodeo Drive Highlighter. And this is one of my favorite highlighters. I'm taking that with this Milani highlighting brush. And yes, that did have a lot of fallout. So I'm going ahead and placing that on my upper cheekbone area. And as you guys can tell, since we did spray our face, this is going on very, very smooth. It is not going on powdery at all. And that's what I like about setting my face before I do set down any type of highlighter. I always do this. And I'm just going in on my cheek areas because I do like you guys to be able to see it when I'm facing you guys. So if anything, I'm taking that on my chin area, on my nose area. And right here, I'm going to be wiping off whatever crusty foundation I do have on my lips because I hate seeing that. And I'm placing a little bit on my upper lip area. I go a little crazy with it. Now for lips, we're going to be taking the Cafe au Lait lip liner. And I believe this is from Rimmel, so you can get this at any drugstore that you like. And I'm going to go ahead and start lining the top area of my lip. I do overline a little bit and you could kind of tell, but honestly my top lip area is not as plump and voluptuous as my bottom lip area. So I try and kind of get those to coincide so my top lip is not as small and my bottom lip is huge. So I try and get those to match up as much as I can. And honestly, if I didn't have to, I wouldn't go a little bit overlining on my lip. But now, as you guys can see, I'm going ahead and patting that color in with my fingertips. Today for lips, I'm going to be going in with Milani Cosmetics number 19 liquid lipstick in the shade Covet. And I'm going to go ahead and place that on my lower lip area and then kind of pat them together. And as you guys can see, this is a very, very beautiful, kind of like a brick tone brown color. And it is so beautiful. It kind of matched my shirt, so I went ahead and went with this today. I really wanted to do like a fall inspired look. So I thought this lip would match perfectly with the eyes. And it did. And as you guys can see, this is very, very opaque. And it's one of my favorite colors for the fall time. Now to do something with this crazy hair. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is the final look. I did want to create something fall inspired for you guys. If you guys did like it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And make sure you hit the notification bell down below so you guys are notified every time I do post a video.